The final matchup of the second round gets underway tonight with the Warriors on the road to face the T-Wolves. Anthony Edwards is hoping he can take down another legend and stop Steph Curry's quest for a fifth ring. The Warriors and the Timberwolves are facing off in the playoffs for the first time in league history. The T-Wolves finished off the Lakers in 5 games, and it took the Warriors 7 games to get past the Houston Rockets. Since the 2018-29 playoffs, teams are 5-15 in Game 1 of the next series when they're coming off a 7-game series. So, Wendy, let's go to you first. Which team needs Game 1 more, the Warriors or the T-Wolves? Wendy, can you hear me?
I think it's the Wolves. And that's because, just like last night, history says, despite what Jokic and the Nuggets did, history says that when you're coming off a 7-game series with 1-day rest and going on the road, you're not going to be at your best. The Wolves have to take advantage of that. They are very fortunate to have been the 6th seed and get to the second round of the playoffs in this conference and have home court advantage. They've got to hold on to it. They've got to take advantage of their depth and their size and punish the Warriors. You know, the Warriors, as much as they've accomplished, they had a flat end of the regular season. That forced them in the play-in, so they had to do extra work to get into the playoffs. Then they had a 3-1 lead against the Rockets, and they just gave away Game 5, in my opinion, and lost Game 6 at home. They extended that series. They've got to be punished for putting this extra work on, and it's got to be the Wolves. And I just say something about the Wolves. They finished the season 17-4. Once Julius Randle came back from injury and got his legs up underneath him, and once Dante DiVincenzo got over the foot injury that was bothering him throughout the middle of the season, this was really a lot closer to the team that was in the Western Conference Finals last year than was going for the first 2-3 months of the season. They have to act like a favorite. In my view, they are a favorite in this series. Act like a favorite. Handle your business tonight. Put the Warriors on their heels. That's absolutely the mission.
Perk?
Jimmy Butler is dealing with the glute injury, right? Steph Curry dealing with the hand. Draymond Green undersized. And they just came out of a physical series with the Houston Rockets, a bloodbath, an emotional series going 7 games. And now you're entering probably an even more physical series under man. And you need to go in and steal Game 1, because I'm looking at the age of the Warriors, right? You got Steph Curry, he's 36, 37. Same with Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. All of a sudden, it's no more 2 days in between. You're playing every other day. Perfect opportunity. At some point, you have to win on the road. Why not go and get Game 1? You need Game 1. Matter of fact, to put the pressure on the Minnesota Timberwolves to actually somewhat emotionally ease the pressure off of you if you're the Golden State Warriors. I think they come in, they need to send a message early, have the Minnesota Timberwolves thinking, because you're going against a confident group right now that's led by one of the, if not the most confident player in the NBA, in Anthony Edwards.
I feel you on that, Big Perk, but I'm a float with Wendy on this one, because I think Minnesota having home court advantage, you need to protect your home turf. You certainly don't need to be falling down based off of all the things that you just said, Perk, because of Steph Curry's hand injury, because of the pelvic injury that Jimmy Butler had, because Draymond Green is undersized and what have you. When you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves coming into this series, they should be the favorites, considering their size and their defensive prowess, considering Jaden McDaniels and the way he's been able to defend against Steph Curry this season. I know Steph Curry's averaging 28 against them, but against him, Jaden McDaniels, it's been a different animal altogether, where he's shooting like 26% from the field and 25% from three-point range. The point that I'm making is that if you're Minnesota, you need to make sure you send the message that you're the team to beat. You've got the size, you've got the athleticism, you've got the defensive prowess, you've got home court advantage. You don't let Golden State roll up in there in Game 1 and put you on your heels to open the series. No, you make sure you let them know this is our home turf. We believe we're the superior team, and we're going to treat you that way, particularly in these first 2 games, and especially in Game 1, no doubt about it. That's where I'm coming from with it. What do you guys have to say about that?
Perk.
Well, look, this is what I'm saying. When you think of, here's the difference between the two series, right? You had one where you were playing, the Golden State Warriors was playing against the Houston Rockets, and they were just one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA, even in the regular season, and it showed in the postseason. That's not the case, right? That's not the case. Now we're diving a little deeper into this series. That's not the case with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Mike Conley, by the way, who's been playing some outstanding basketball, he can shoot the three at a high clip. Dante can shoot the three at a high clip. We know what Anthony Edwards could do from the three-point line. Hell, he led the league in three-pointers made this season. And we also look at Julius Randle and what he's been doing. And then you have to worry about a guy that we still haven't mentioned enough, Jaden McDaniels. He had his moments in that first round, 25-point game, 30-point game. And so I'm just looking at it from a physicality standpoint. This is one of those games where the Warriors need to go in and dive deep and say, man, we got to go steal game one. And I guarantee that's probably the message that Draymond Green is shooting around that locker room. Let's get this one.
Wendy?
Yeah, so it's interesting you bring up McDaniels. He's a vitally important player in this series. Across the whole NBA, nobody covered Steph Curry more possessions this year than Jaden McDaniels did. The way that the Wolves approach dealing with Curry, they put I get he's 6'9", and he's got great athleticism, and he can run with Steph. I mean, McDaniels can run all day, and you have to when you guard Steph. So that matchup, whether McDaniels' size can bother Curry, because Curry is so good moving without the ball that sometimes it doesn't even matter who you've got on him. Plus, they're going to throw all these screens at him. But Curry actually shoots slightly less than his season average against McDaniels when McDaniels is his primary defender. So that's a big matchup, how McDaniels is able to stay with him. The other side, when it comes to defending the star, throughout the season, and we saw it in the first round a fair amount with the Lakers, is what are you going to do with Ant Edwards? Are you going to commit to bringing the double team? Because one of the big differences in this Wolves team between mid-season, when they were basically a 500 team, and late season when they were dominant, is what their antidotes were to when the double team came to Ant Edwards. There was a point in this year where Ant Edwards was just downright frustrated with all the double teams. He openly complained about missing Karl Towns as the guy he could use to break the double teams. But he has on his roster a lot of weapons, and he's been able to get to them. And the thing about Ant is that he is not afraid to use his teammates. There are times when he gets in to a little bit too much focused on his own shot, but he can use his teammates. So watch how the Warriors come out, and whether they go aggressively on the double team, whether they throw the zone, which is what they used against the Rockets, and watch Jaden McDaniels seeing if he can stick with number 30.
A couple of things I want to point out here before I go to break. Number one, Dante DiVincenzo averaged 15 points and 39% shooting from threes against the Warriors this season. Rudy Gobert only averaged 11.5 points, but he shot 70% from the field. So maybe you might want to attack the interior and play bully ball because that's what you want to do with an undersized Golden State Warrior squad. But I think the thing to pay attention to is how chaotic Minnesota's offense appears at times. When they're flowing, they're flowing. When Nas Reed, when McDaniels and those brothers are hitting shots, they're just a different animal. And I think that happens, they easily win this series. But they can miss. They're a roller coaster. One game they're high, another game they're missing shots, another game they're turning the ball over, what have you. I'm not talking about Ant-Man because we've seen his level of play elevate in terms of his decision making. I'm talking about the rest of the guys. And if they're not making
Còn vài mẫu cuối là xong hàng này rồi mình móc tiếp nhé. Đây, móc tiếp xuống. Luân phiên như vậy là được. Tiếp nha.